You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. We can all breathe a big sigh of relief because Mercury Retrograde is officially over on this Venus Day, this Friday. I hope you're having a beautiful end to your week. And in today's episode, we're going to walk through the energy of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because yes, Mercury is now direct, but that doesn't mean the fog lifts, the clarity is here, there's no issues. Saturn is stationing retrograde tomorrow, so we're still in the middle of a retrograde season, and you'll see more planets stationing retrograde over the coming weeks throughout June. Mercury, though, the infamous Mercury retrograde is over. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll pull 3 tarot cards, one for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, to see what other messages want to come through. Kayla is with us this morning. Thank you for being here. And let's just start by celebrating the Geminis in our community. If you're a Gemini, if you know someone who's a Gemini, or a Gemini rising, because Mercury retrograde has been especially tough on those Gemini risings and Virgo risings, give them a shout out in the comments. And if you know someone who's celebrating a birthday today on June 3rd, they are in good company. Anderson Cooper celebrates a solar return. Josephine Baker has a birthday today. And over the weekend, let's see, what other notable Geminis? Oh, Angelina Jolie was born on June 4th. Russell Brand as well. And on June 5th, we have, sorry, Mercury retrograde. Still, see, this is what I'm talking about. We'll go over this in a second. On Sunday, Mark Wahlberg, Troye Sivan. So some notable people. Kenny G has a birthday on Sunday. Nick Kroll. Yeah, some notable Geminis. All right. Let's get into our forecast, though. And I want to acknowledge, if you're feeling like still kind of things are slow, that's par for the course right now. And it's part of Mercury's retrograde as well as Saturn's retrograde. We're kind of in this moment where it feels like time is slowing down. I even noticed with myself, just really taking my time, starting my day today and over the past couple of days. That energy will likely carry us through the weekend. So let me know if you're feeling that as well. Just like it's kind of difficult to get going, to get started, or you're just kind of feeling the pace being a little bit slower. Even though it's Gemini season and we're busy and we have a lot of social obligations right now, it can feel like, okay, we're just moving a little slower pace than normal. Happy birthday to you, Gemini. Thanks for letting us know so we can celebrate you. So let's pull up today's chart and see what we've got going on. Also, during this live stream, if you're with me live, the moon will be moving into Leo, so we'll talk all about that. But the big thing everyone's excited about today is Mercury stationing direct after 3 long weeks, 3 very long weeks, it seemed, of Mercury retrograde. And Mercury retrograde started in Gemini, its home sign, and then moved back into Taurus, really slowing the pace down even more. So Mercury is stationing direct in Taurus at about 26 degrees right now. And there are a couple things happening as Mercury stations direct that I want to go over, and not a lot of astrologers are talking about, but it could help you navigate this moment. Okay, so here is a look at our current chart right now. The moon is at 29 degrees at the anaretic degree. So if you're feeling a little sensitive at the moment, or even like a little restless, well, that would be because the moon is at the anaretic degree at this moment. And I do want to say, if you're finding this video later and you want to jump ahead to Saturday's forecast or Sunday's forecast, I'll put chapters down on the timeline and in the description so you can jump to whatever part of the video you are looking for guidance with. So, Mercury stationing direct, that officially happened at 1 a.m. and it does bring a level of relief with it, a level of clarity. But it's not like this clarity happens all at once. It's not like a light switch that turns on and off, because you can almost imagine it as Mercury running in one direction and then taking a pivot and turning in the other direction. But it takes time, right? We have to slow down in order to pivot, to turn around, and to gain speed again. So when we're looking at Mercury in the night sky or on the chart, Mercury hangs out at 26 degrees in Taurus for a little bit longer than normal because it's changing directions there. And that's why I say the pace could feel a little bit slower than normal today. All right, so let's just discuss what it means when Mercury stations direct. And I'm going to bring up this little graphic just as a refresher for you. Mercury stationing direct in Taurus. While Mercury has been retrograde in this sign, we've really been reflecting and reviewing our values. We've been kind of slowing down to figure out, what do we really want? What is really important to us? And Mercury retrograde is notorious for tech issues, communication issues. So those things will start to clear up, but Mercury is still in what's called its shadow period. And that's that slow period where Mercury is changing directions before and after its retrograde. So it can take a little bit of time for us to pick up speed, pick up momentum again, and we could run into a few communications, tech, travel snags along the way. So we're not completely in the clear just yet. Don't get too ahead of yourself. It takes about a week until June 18th or until about the full moon for us to kind of feel back to normal when it comes to communication and all the things that Mercury rules. Now is the time to really slowly start integrating the lessons we've been learning, the reflections we've been having during Mercury retrograde. Maybe you had some realizations that now you can start working into your everyday life. Take it slow, take it slow, take it slow. Mercury in Taurus really favors this. And when Mercury moves back into Gemini, which happens on, I believe, let me double check this, June 13th, Mercury moves back into Gemini. That's when the pace really starts picking up again, and we start to feel a lot more mercurial, like busy and social and chatty. So there are no accidents in astrology, there are no accidents in the universe, and it's kind of beautiful that Mercury stations direct in this slow sign, giving us the time and the ease to kind of, continue these reflections and integrate them. Now, as Mercury slows down, let me show you what this looks like on our chart. As Mercury slows down, it's coming into a couple different connections. These connections never become exact because Mercury doesn't get back to 25 degrees, but it's close. And so you'll see Mercury here at 26 degrees, now direct, no little r next to it anymore. That means retrograde. But if Mercury had gotten back to 25 degrees, it would have made an exact sextile to Neptune and an exact square to Saturn. Even though these transits aren't exact, it's like Mercury is still connecting with these planets as it turns around and hangs out at this spot in the sky, especially because these are two very slow-moving outer planets and Mercury has slowed down. It's like this moment, almost this pause where they are connecting and seeing each other and interacting with each other. So let's talk about what this means. Mercury squaring Saturn. Whoop. You can see that right here. Mercury forming a square to Saturn in Aquarius. What does this mean? Well, this can bring in fear and doubt into our mental state. Saturn is the planet of limitations, rules, boundaries, security, stability. And so it can have this dampening effect on our mental state. It can really force us to face reality in not the most fun way. Saturn is not known for being fun. It almost can feel like a dark cloud in your mental state as Mercury is stationing direct, changing directions. It's important to realize Saturn's influence and recognize any negativity that's coming up or doubt that's coming up. That can really help you navigate this and not take those thoughts as fact. Remember, not every thought that goes through your mind is a fact. We're more skeptical, more serious in our mindset as Mercury squares off to Saturn, especially as Mercury is in Taurus and Saturn is in Aquarius. These are both fixed signs. So it can, bring up kind of limiting beliefs or kind of reflect back to us what we're really being stubborn about or stuck in. This transit can also force us to take care of business. This is a positive of Mercury squaring off to Saturn. It's like, okay, these are the tasks you have to get done. These are the things you have to do today. And it can help you kind of lean into that hard work and that determination. So there is a positive to this, especially because we are in this almost paused, slow energy. It's like, okay, time is slowing down. This is the time. Put your head down, get stuff done before social season busyness comes back and Mercury is really buzzing again. Now, as negative as the square between Mercury and Saturn can be, Neptune's influence softens it quite a bit. Neptune is the planet of dreams and imagination. So this nice supportive angle at the same time between Mercury and Neptune helps us lean into compassion, communicate with empathy. And it's like Saturn is forcing us to see the reality, like this is how it is, this is facts, this is what we need to do. It's very much about duty, and Neptune's influence is more like, we have plenty of time, and imagine all the possibilities, envision what things could look like. It's okay, just float off into a fantasy. Everything is going to be fine. So, both of these planets, Saturn and Neptune, connecting with Mercury at the same time almost creates a bit of a balance, which is really nice. If it was just Saturn connecting with Mercury, we would probably feel a lot more heaviness, but Neptune's influence almost lightens up that mental cloud a little bit and helps us to trust and hope and lean into our wildest dreams and believe that they are possible. Even if Saturn's doubts and fears are coming in, it's like Neptune's like, we're trusting, we're believing, it's all good. And so, Neptune's influence can help us kind of surpass that fear and doubt and trust that clarity is coming. As Mercury gets back into its normal groove, there will be more and more clarity as the days go on. So you can see that mashup of energy we're dealing with today. Let me know if you're feeling it in the comments. Let me know how Mercury retrograde has affected you over the past couple weeks, depending on where the end of Taurus and beginning of Gemini is in your chart. It might have activated some planets in your chart. This is a great time as Mercury is in this, kind of like hanging in the balance moment, where we're getting our bearings again. It's nice to look back at your chart, which you can find at thespiritualjournalist.com/birth chart. You can just scan the QR code in the corner and see if anything is hanging out there. Right here, let me show you on the chart one more time. So if you have any planets between the end of Taurus over here and the beginning of Gemini, that's still going to be activated as Mercury stations direct, because remember, Mercury moved through this area, then it moved back through this area, and now Mercury will go over those planets in your chart again. So that area of your life, of your chart, is getting lit up this time of year. My Saturn is in Aquarius in the 3rd house, and I've been super duper emotional. And you're probably going through your Saturn return too if your Saturn is in Aquarius. And, I think it's also the moon is in Cancer, which we'll talk about right now, actually. And that can make us a little bit more sensitive and emotional. So, as Mercury squares Saturn in the sky, if we're going through our Saturn return and our Saturn is around that 24, 25, 26 degree mark, Mercury is also squaring our natal Saturn. So that's coming up for you as well. It's not just the current energy of fear and doubt, but really activating those boundaries, those limits, those fears, those lessons in your own chart too. So just give yourself grace and know that we're all feeling a little more tender with the moon in Cancer. Things will feel a lot more optimistic by the end of the day today. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's going on with the moon today. And I'll pull up the chart again. You can see the moon made its final connections in Cancer today. Now, I want to know, did anyone have crazy dreams last night? Because the moon in Cancer formed a nice 120-degree angle with Neptune and Pisces. So these two planets connecting in water signs make us very intuitive. This happened at 2 a.m. though. So most of us were probably asleep and maybe having some really vivid dreams. Pay special attention to any messages that came through in your dreams last night. Now, because Neptune and Saturn are both at the same degree, the moon also made an uncomfortable connection with Saturn at the same time, which could have brought in some dark dreams, some negative dreams. But those dreams could still carry messages. So it's important to kind of filter out what's just fear and what's actually maybe a message or a warning coming through. Just don't take anything at face value right now. Pay attention to those messages, especially because shortly after the moon connected with Mercury, and Mercury is the messenger. This happened at 4 a.m. So again, when most of us were probably asleep, insights can come through in our subconscious state more easily. Intuitive hits can happen when the Cancer moon connects with Mercury in this way. Like your dreams could have carried some very clear messages last night if you remember them. So let me know. Let me know if you had any weird dreams. In waking life, though, if you happen to wake up really early this morning, you might have had some ideas come through or some intuitive hits as the moon connected with Mercury. And then the final transit that we felt this morning, and Cass, you might have really been feeling this as well. I cussed out my neighbor in my dreams last night. Well, that's pretty on point. Some negativity, some maybe a little bit of control coming out with Saturn's influence, but also you obviously had some vivid dreams. So you're feeling the transits. Okay, but when we woke up here on the West Coast, or if you're watching from the East Coast, when the day really got going on Friday, the moon opposed Pluto. So take a look at the chart and you can see that. The moon here at 29 degrees opposing Pluto at 28 degrees. This happened exactly at 8 a.m., but we're definitely still feeling this energy as the moon gets ready to move into Leo. And when the moon opposes Pluto, it can really force us to face our shadows, to see our shadows. Especially, if you had some dark dreams, maybe you're waking up and like, ooh, I didn't realize there was so much darkness in my subconscious. This can also create some dramatic mood swings, power struggles. It's like we have this opposition is like holding up a mirror that's forcing us to face our fears, face our deepest emotions. Pluto rules the dark, the shadowy, the depths of our soul. Sounds so dramatic, but it's true. So, difficult feelings could have come up for you this Friday morning. Now, being unwilling to face those feelings could create a tendency to try to manipulate or control or, try to push them off to the side by creating another sort of distraction or trying to, feel a sense of control by manipulating other people. That's just kind of the nature of this transit. That doesn't mean you're a bad person or that you're, a controlling, manipulative person. You might have just had a moment of weakness, and that's okay. That's okay. Even Cass being like, I cursed out my neighbors in my dream. Luckily, you did that in your dream and not in real life, because the moon opposing Pluto could definitely bring bring issues like that. Really trying to stay curious as the moon makes these final connections in Cancer. Stay open, being willing to be introspective and figure out what's coming up for you, what's surfacing that maybe you've been ignoring for a while. Being open to those tender feelings, those deep emotions, and to what they're showing you, and not trying to control other people or let your moods get the best of you in the process. So the Cancer moon has been making a lot of connections this morning, keeping us pretty emotional, maybe a little sensitive, maybe a little fearful. That's okay. When the moon moves into Leo at about 11:40, so in about a half hour or so if you're joining me live, the energy lightens up quite a bit. So let's jump forward an hour on our chart here, just so you can see what that looks like. The moon in Leo right here. There we go. When the moon moves into Leo, Leo is the sign of the lion, of course. So we feel a lot more pride when the moon is in Leo, but our ego tends to be a little more activated as well. This transit over the weekend wants us to be playful. It wants us to have fun. The Leo moon is all about creative expression, joy. That's the positive side of the Leo moon. But our emotions can definitely feel more grand and dramatic because, as we know, Leo energy is very theatrical and performative. So not to say that your emotions are performative, but they just might seem a little bit grander, like they're on a stage, there's just a lot that they seem very big. Emotions can seem very big. Try not to let that pride get the best of you, those ego reactions get the best of you. Instead, lean into your inner child, lean into creativity, joy, playfulness. And, I always say with the Leo moon, lean into your inner child, not your inner toddler, okay? The inner child, kids are curious and playful and like even a little competitive and fun. The inner toddler has ego tantrums when they don't get what they want. So there's the difference, and there's a great representation of kind of the shadow and the light to work with the Leo moon over the weekend. Tonight at 8 p.m., we have a good transit. This is one of the most positive, abundant transits that we could even talk about. So if your Friday night involves socializing, partying, you're going to have a lot of fun. The moon harmonizes with Jupiter at 8 p.m. So Jupiter is currently in Aries at 4 degrees. When the moon hits 4 degrees, we get this nice fiery trine between La Luna and Jupiter. And this makes us feel abundant. We're over the top. We're social. We're generous. All the good vibes, over the top everything, all the selfies, all the excess. Going big is favored under this transit. The only thing I'll say is don't go overboard. The moon and Jupiter connecting in these fire signs it's like more is more. And so, if you are out, if you are enjoying yourself, maybe letting a little bit loose, now that Mercury is direct, now that we've made it to the weekend, just don't go overboard because you could not feel so great tomorrow, and the transits tomorrow are slightly more difficult to navigate. So we just want to make sure that we're not crazy hungover or, super depleted all weekend because we went too hard on Friday night. And that will be easy to do as the moon and Jupiter connect in this way. It's like more fun, keep going harder, which, as we know, can make for a really awesome energy. And it makes it really fun to be around other people, to socialize, to share our abundant vibes, but it's really easy. This is like peer pressure city. It's like really easy to go overboard under this transit. So that's what's going on this Friday. Now let's jump ahead to our Saturday forecast, June 4th, as one planet stations direct, another planet stations retrograde. Saturn begins its own backspin at about 2:45 Saturday afternoon. And this is a transit that will be with us for about 4.5 months until October 22nd. This is an annual transit. Saturn goes retrograde every year. So that can be kind of reassuring. Like there is a period every year where Saturn is retrograde, and maybe you've never even realized it. Life went on as normal, and that's okay. But it is helpful to know what Saturn is doing between now and October, because it can help you reflect on what's happening in your own life and maybe the things that you can be reviewing. So Saturn is known as the father of the zodiac, or the great malefic. Again, it's that rule maker, that boundary setter. And when Saturn is retrograde, it's really, you can almost think of it like an extended inspection of your foundation, like someone coming in and consistently testing out different parts of the ground of the foundation to make sure the structure that you're building, the projects that you're growing, the business that you are expanding, to make sure that it's on solid ground and it's not going to crumble. So Saturn's retrograde feels like really checking to make sure you have a solid footing. And if there are any cracks in the foundation, if there are any faulty floor plans, they could definitely be exposed during Saturn's retrograde. A little refresher on this, we talked about it at the beginning of Gemini season. You can find these graphics anytime on my Instagram page. But when Saturn stations retrograde, it can also, Saturn's associated with really big lessons that we're learning. And so it can force us to review the lessons we've been learning lately, especially for my fellow people who are going through our Saturn return. If you already had your first Saturn return recently, Saturn's probably going to come back to that same spot and hit your Saturn a couple more times over the next 6 months to a year or so. Which means that this Saturn retrograde is especially potent for you if you are going through your Saturn return. This is a 4-month period that can be seen as karmic rebalancing, because Saturn is also known as the planet of karma. Boundaries will be tested. Expect boundaries to be tested. Some structures could break down during Saturn retrograde in order for new ones to be built, to be erected. With Saturn in Aquarius, we will likely come out of this retrograde with new collective perspectives, because Aquarius is the sign of community, humanity, the collective. So it's not that we're just reviewing our own foundations in our own lives, but the collective foundations, government structures. Saturn is big on the government. Laws, rules, any blurry boundaries or rules that don't quite make sense could be exposed during Saturn retrograde. So, we're reviewing structures, systems, the ways we are or aren't disciplined. Saturn is really big with discipline too. So you could be personally reviewing your own disciplinary practices, like how you stay disciplined in your own life, or it could be that we're reviewing, again, laws, forms of discipline in our government, in our society. It's such a bummer being like, yay, Mercury is direct, but Saturn stations retrograde. But Saturn's retrograde, the nice thing about this is that Saturn always moves very slowly. So we don't feel it as much when Saturn slows down and switches directions. Yes, there is still that same sense we get with Mercury, where it's like time is slowing down. Saturn is kind of like father time as well. So if you felt that recently, even over the past couple weeks, because Saturn moves so much more slowly, if you felt like time is kind of at a standstill or progress has stopped, Saturn retrograde, Mercury retrograde, definitely playing into those feelings. No more lessons, please. I feel you, Cass. I feel you. But welcome them. Welcome the lessons. Welcome what the universe is presenting you. I think personally, that seems like the easiest way to navigate a Saturn return. There's really no way of getting out of it. You're already in it right now. And so just welcoming those lessons rather than being like, oh my God, another one, that can be really, really helpful. All right, so that's the main transit we're talking about tomorrow, but the moon is very busy on Saturday as well. So I'm going to pull up our chart so you can see all the different connections the moon is making. Again, the moon is in Leo pretty much all weekend, and the moon is in its waxing crescent phase. It's coming into the first quarter moon, I believe, on Monday. And as the moon gains more light every night, we are kind of gaining momentum, getting ready to take action. The Leo moon activates our heart chakra. So this is a time, yes, that's playful and fun, but also really observe what is lighting you up, what is setting your heart on fire. How can you incorporate more of that into whatever action you're about to take to move towards the intentions you set under the new moon. Pride can take over easily because our heart is especially activated right now, right? So we don't want to let our ego get in the way. We don't want to let our pride get in the way, but at the same time, really paying attention to what makes that childlike joy come out under the Leo moon. Okay, so Friday night into Saturday morning, 2 a.m. Remember how I said Friday night is like prime time to party? Well, if you're still up at 2 a.m. Pacific time or, 5 a.m. Eastern time, if you're really going hard on a Friday night, expect another surge of energy because the moon makes another harmonious flowing connection to Mars in Aries on Saturday morning, technically 2 a.m. Friday night into Saturday morning. And at the same time, the moon squares off to Venus in Taurus. So connecting with both Mars and Venus at the same time. It's like we are going to have intense desires Friday night into Saturday morning. There is a need for pleasure that honestly could cause like aggressive or dominating behavior because Mars is flowing very easily with that Leo moon. It makes us more courageous, more willing to put ourselves out there, maybe a little bit more cocky, a little bit more pompous. And then this square between the moon and Venus makes us feel this intense need to feel good. And so, sexually, this could be a really potent time as long as there obviously is consent and everybody is on board. That's a great use of this energy for sure. If you're not in that situation, self-pleasure is a great way to kind of get that final surge of energy out of your body on Friday night into Saturday morning and actually be able to rest and relax. If this mashup of planets, the moon, Mars, and Venus, the way they're all connecting, was defined by one word, it would be desire or want. It's like, it might not even be sexually. It's like at 2 a.m. you just get this craving for a snack or just anything that, Venus rules, pleasure, physical resources, money, food as well, that need for pleasure through food or just feeling good, whatever makes you feel good. But yeah, you could be a little bit more impulsive or quick to reach for whatever it is that's going to bring you pleasure overnight from Friday into Saturday. At 4 p.m. on Saturday, so that's kind of this surge of energy we feel Friday night. You might even find yourself sleeping in Saturday morning because you went really hard on Friday night, or being unable to sleep through the night on Friday because of all of these really abundant energetic transits that we're experiencing. But Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m., the energy changes a little bit. The moon forms a sextile to the sun. This happens at 14 degrees, so we'll jump ahead here. I just realized we're not even on Saturday right now. What are we doing? But when the moon connects with the sun in this nice 60-degree angle, it makes us feel more confident, more social, more outgoing. The Leo moon helps us feel a little bit more proud in a good way, too. Just more like feeling ourselves, feeling more magnetic, and maybe even a little more performative. The sun in Gemini makes us more social. Like, I know Pride Month just started. The moon in Leo and the sun in Gemini screams pride. So this weekend, if you can make it out on Saturday to a Pride event, perfect for these transits. We enjoy being around other people, maybe even showing off just a little bit, which is kind of what Pride is all about, like showing off who you truly are, right? It's fun, it's playful, it's a creative energy to work with, it's curious. There's a desire to be seen, but also to observe others and learn new information. So Saturday afternoon will probably feel like this nice, confident energy to work with. Now at 6 p.m., the moon connects with Chiron. Just fixing my phone here. At 6 p.m., the moon harmonizes with Chiron. The Leo moon is making a lot of these fiery trine connections to all the planets in Aries. And that is really bringing the fire on Saturday, Friday night into Saturday. So expect to just be more energized. But Chiron is the wounded healer. And the reason I bring this up, Chiron isn't a major body in our solar system, but I really believe astrology is a healing modality, and that's why I always include Chiron in the transits, because Chiron represents our deepest wounds and our ability to heal them. And when the moon makes this fortunate connection to Chiron and Aries, it's really allowing for a healing moment, especially if we let our inner child be expressed. If we really give that little kid inside of us the space and the safety to play, to express, that can create a really healing moment. And it's probably the most beautiful way to use this transit. Now, you might notice when the moon is connecting in Chiron on Saturday evening, this happens at 6 p.m., you might notice your ego or your pride stopping you from letting that free, careless version of yourself come through like you did as a child. That can be part of the healing moment, noticing where you're stopping yourself from expressing, where you're stopping yourself from being free. And the final transit the moon makes on Saturday night, 8 p.m., is a square to Uranus. Now, when the moon squares off to Uranus, this can create outbursts, mood swings, or an intense need for excitement. So, emotional outbursts are possible, ego tantrums are possible, our inner toddler could definitely take over when the moon in Leo squares off to Uranus and Taurus. We can be more stubborn, and our pride can definitely get in the way from allowing us to see different perspectives or go with the flow. So disruptions could happen on Saturday night. Now, this could also create an intense need for excitement, for a thrill. And so, you might find yourself on Saturday night looking for some sort of new experience that is going to fulfill this need to have, excitement in your life. You might also notice physical changes happening when the moon squares off to Uranus, either in your immediate environment or even in your own appearance. So watch yourself under this transit. Don't be the one that causes the disruption by, having emotional outbursts or letting that inner toddler take over. And instead, try to remain flexible, try to remain open to changes of plan, new experiences, surprises, because those are all definitely possible on Saturday night. And, you want to make sure that, again, you're not the one causing the issues. Maybe you're the one that's just flowing along with the issues, because there will likely be some sort of disruption or surprise. That's Saturday. Now let's talk about Sunday. No major transits on Sunday. All we're talking about is the Leo moon. But in true Leo fashion, that doesn't mean it's going to be boring. There is a lot going on still on Sunday. Just no planets changing direction or moving into new signs or connecting with each other, which is nice. We can just kind of take Sunday to focus on our emotions. And Sunday could even feel like a turning point. And here's why. So the moon's still in Leo, and it could feel like you're having to start making decisions on Sunday because of all the connections the Leo moon is making. And those decisions could feel especially dramatic under a Leo moon. So let's start at 6 a.m. on Sunday. Let's jump ahead on the chart here. And you'll see the Leo moon over here a little earlier than this, but it's going to square off to the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio. This is called a T-square. And mind you, Saturn is kind of the release point of this T-square. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But when the moon squares off to the North and South Node, we are at this karmic pivotal point. It almost feels like we're suspended between the past and the future. And so on Sunday, every transit that came up on Sunday, a unanimous message, what am I even saying? The same message kept coming through as I was looking ahead to Sunday's transits. Be present. Enjoy the present moment. The present is a gift, right? So you don't have to have the future figured out. You don't have to dwell on the past, just really enjoying the present moment on Sunday. Because when the moon squares off to the North and South Node, like I said, it can make us feel like we are suspended between the past and the future, and our emotions feel a lot bigger. So make it your mission to just be in the moment. At 2 p.m. on Sunday, the moon opposes Saturn and connects with Neptune. So similar to what I was just talking about. You see the north and south nodes here on this axis squaring off to the moon. Saturn is kind of on that other axis opposing the moon. Anytime the moon opposes Saturn, it brings some sadness, some isolation, some negativity, some loneliness, fear, doubt, confusion, can feel a little bit overwhelming. Neptune's influence, again, it's like Neptune is our saving grace right now with all of these Saturn connections. Neptune can soften it a little bit, but it also makes it more difficult because it's not a balanced connection between the moon and Neptune. It makes it more difficult to envision our dreams coming true, to trust the process, which is why our emotions could feel a little bit more dramatic. Like, we have to be in control. We have to have it all figured out. We have to be the captain of our own ship, you know. Trying to envision your dreams, in fact, on Sunday afternoon could even provoke some restrictive feelings or some sadness. Loyalty, independence are kind of coming into play with the moon in Leo, the sign of the ego, the sign of our expression, kind of wanting to march to the beat of our own drum. Whereas the Saturn in Aquarius shows us how we're playing into the collective, but also how we're different than maybe the people in our community. So there's kind of this feeling of like not only being stuck between the past and the future, but also kind of being stuck between wanting to be around other people and wanting to be alone. And that can create a little bit of tension or confusion or sadness. And just know that that is coming on Sunday afternoon, and being in the moment, not worrying about what other people are thinking can really be helpful. The moon then squares off to Mercury. Again, this is all happening on Sunday afternoon. So like I said, you know, really enjoy the energetic transits on Friday night, Saturday morning, because things get a little tricky by Sunday. You can see this giant X in the chart, right? Like that's a great depiction of the energy we're feeling on Sunday. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of squares we're talking about. So when the moon squares off to Mercury, this can create some spontaneous conversation or this impulse to speak our mind. It kind of creates a clash actually between our mind and our heart, with Mercury ruling the mind and the Leo moon really activating our heart. So we could find ourselves again overthinking. We're trying to plan the future, but also trying to stay in the present moment, which is where our heart usually lies, in the present moment. We're trying to make sense of a lot of things when the moon squares off to Mercury that probably aren't ready to be solved yet. Remember what we said at the beginning of this live stream. This is a time, as Mercury gets going in the right direction again, this is a time to take it slow, to integrate lessons. So really there's an urge to have it all figured out on Sunday, but you're not going to figure it all out. And accepting that and just rolling with it is going to make it a lot easier to navigate the energy. A lot of the problems you're going to be worrying about on Sunday aren't meant to be solved yet. And the final connection the Leo moon makes on Sunday night, 8 p.m., is an uncomfortable connection to Pluto, a quincunx or an imbalanced aspect to Pluto, which is retrograde. In case you forgot, Pluto is retrograde right now in Capricorn. And this is like the feeling of knowing that we're in the midst of transition, as we've been talking about for this Sunday, kind of knowing that there are things falling away, there are things being reborn, but again, not being able to quite grasp them or see them or flow with them just yet. So taking Sunday, be present, be present, be present. Release the need to be in charge, to be in control, to make those decisions, to manipulate the plan, and instead just enjoy where your heart is leading you that day. The moon moves into Virgo just before midnight on Sunday night, and that will be the first quarter moon that we experience on Monday. Really a great day to have a first quarter moon because it's all about taking action. And as the first quarter moon enters the sign of the Virgin, Virgo, it's almost offering this clean slate for a new week, helping us start from a place of purity, helping us feel a little bit more renewed or clear as the moon enters Virgo. Our Monday morning routine could get a little surge of productivity under this lunation. So just know that if things feel a little bit messy, confusing, muddled, or like they're out of your control on Sunday or even Saturday night, Monday brings a fresh energy and kind of this urge to take action and start moving towards those intentions you set under the new moon. We are a little bit more critical and controlling under a Virgo moon, so it's not like we're totally like, yay, we'll just start something new. There is still a tendency to control on Monday morning, but we can kind of channel that into our routine, into all the tasks that we usually have to complete on a Monday, or kind of, getting our to-do list together, all those kinds of things. And throughout the weekend, Mercury is still connecting with Saturn and Neptune. So I just want to remind you that even though Mercury is direct, there's still a lot of fears, doubts, dreams, visions, compassionate conversations to be had. This really does feel like a transitional weekend with some pockets of fun and excitement, but a lot of integration as well. And as we'll talk about next week, the sun starts to form a sextile to Chiron. The Gemini sun connects in a 60-degree angle to Chiron, probably next Monday or Tuesday. And that can create some healing too. So just know that if there's anything that you're trying to sort through as far as your healing journey goes, that there will likely be more clarity in that area next week. Again, be present. You don't have to have it all figured out this weekend. All right, so those are our transits, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now let's go ahead and pull some tarot cards for each day. I'm pulling from the Modern Witch Oracle deck. Pull up our virtual guidebook here because I am not a tarot expert. I just read the guidebook and relay the messages that the universe is sending us. This is your time, as always, to ask your questions. Let me know how you're feeling about Mercury stationing direct. Let me know how the energy feels for you today. The moon, I think, is officially in Leo as we're wrapping this up. Let me see. It just moved into Leo as we speak. So the energy is going to start lightening up quite a bit by tonight. And if you have any questions that you're trying to figure out the answers to, a lot of what we talked about during this weekend's forecast, let these card pulls be your messages. You can ask your questions of the universe and see what's coming through for you as we pull these cards. So I'm going to shuffle 2 more times. Give you a little ASMR. And last time. All right, what needs to come through? The 8 of Swords for Friday, the Page of Cups for Saturday, and the Page of Pentacles for Sunday. All right, our Friday card, the 8 of Swords. Let's find swords in the guidebook and see what message we are receiving from the universe. Cups, swords, here we go. All right, 8 of Swords. This is our Friday card. You're feeling trapped, blinded, unable to take action because all of your swords are stuck in the ground and they seem too difficult to pull out. But those ropes aren't very tight, and with just a little struggle, they'd fall right off. Don't surrender to hopelessness and negativity. You might have made some mistakes that have gotten you here, but you have the skills you'll need to get yourself out of this situation. Oof. What a beautiful card as Mercury is changing directions. I love how it says, you might have made some mistakes that have gotten you here. Mercury retrograde could have caused some arguments, some communication breakdowns, even some mistakes, some glitches in some way, shape, or form with your plans, with your technology. Know that even though it looks like you're in a stuck situation here, I mean, the girl is like tied up and blindfolded in the middle of all these swords. If you're willing to just shake it up a little bit and put in a little bit of effort, you have the skills you need to get out of this situation. And there is more hope and more, sometimes the universe will sort things out for you if you're just willing to, shake off those ropes, take off the blindfold, and roll with it. So if you're feeling trapped, blinded, unable to take action, know that you are in control and that you're supported and It says, don't surrender to hopelessness and negativity. Definitely fitting for the square we're experiencing between Mercury and Saturn as Mercury stations direct. It can bring up, like I said, those doubts, hopelessness. So you don't have to buy into it. Just a little bit of effort can help you gain some optimism again. Our Saturday card is the Page of Cups, and here's what it says. What's that? A surprising little fish poking its head up from her cup. Oh, I didn't even notice that. There is a fish in her cup. Something or someone unexpected is coming your way, and it's going to affect your emotions pretty wildly. Maybe you've been hit by a wave of inspiration, or you've stumbled upon a brand new friend. Whatever it is, it's a tidal wave of feelings. Don't be afraid to just wade right in. Our Saturday card. I told you emotions are going to feel especially big under the Leo moon, but tonight's transits, tomorrow morning's transits make us more outgoing, more social, more easily able to follow our heart. And Saturday night, that square, I believe, between the moon and Uranus, yes, that square between the moon and Uranus could create surprising encounters, like this surprising little fish poking its head out of the cup. So just be open to surprises, be open to changes, shifts, and see where they take you. Don't let your emotions get too out of control, but expect them to be a little heightened under the Leo moon. And then our Sunday card is the Page of Pentacles. So I love how we had the Page of Cups on Saturday and the Page of Pentacles on Sunday. And here's what it says for Sunday. This page is truly dedicated and focused on their goals. She might be young or inexperienced, but she has the drive and determination needed to venture forward. Don't disregard this person. They are truly talented and will rise to the occasion when it comes. If the page is you, it's time to focus and commit to that thing you've been daydreaming about. Start taking concrete steps to bring that magic into the world. This is really beautiful for the energy we're experiencing on Sunday because, like I said, it can kind of make us feel like we're stuck between the past and the future. And we're coming into that first quarter moon on Monday, asking us to start taking action. So this card is, I really think the page is you, and it's reminding us not to disregard yourself, not to disregard your own talents, your own abilities. The Leo moon can really show us where we shine and show us the drive and determination that is within all of us, that creativity that can come pouring out of us when we are tapped into it. So know that you have whatever you need to venture forward, and let Sunday be that point where you just tap into it and be present with it. So on Monday, you can start bringing all that magic into the world, as this card says. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for this episode of Transits Today. I hope this video was helpful for you as you look ahead to your weekend. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. We're slowly making our way towards 1,000 subscribers, getting closer and closer every day so we can monetize this channel, keep these videos coming to you for free every single day. I'm so grateful you showed up for yourself in the comments today. I'm so grateful you showed up for other people today and shared your experience with us. And the last thing I want to leave you with is our affirmation for the end of Mercury retrograde. And that is, I move forward with clarity. You might not have all the answers this weekend, but know that in time they will become more and more clear. So it's okay to take those baby steps to start moving forward. And moving forward part of the process could just be enjoying the weekend, enjoying the present moment so that you have the energy, you have the inspiration to move forward with come next week. I move forward with clarity. I love you all, and I will see you right back here on Monday morning with a new episode of Transits Today. Thank you for being here, Cass, and thanks for all of your commentary and input during this episode. I appreciate you. I'll see you all on Monday morning, but until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.